Welcome to The Source, where we combine the headlines with in-depth conversations with the newsmakers themselves. Today on the program, it's decision time for Mindanaoans.
We want to show them na kahit mga Moro kami, hindi kami terrorist. Para mabigyan din kami ng pagkakataon na hindi i-judge ang religion namin.
Will they accept the proposed Bangsamoro government?
Sa akin kasi, nagdesisyon ako na mag-yes dahil nabasa ko po yung batas.
Ang Cotabato City, no talaga. Dahil ang karamihan na tao dito, mga wise voters.
Supporters of the Bangsamoro Organic Law are confident in securing a yes vote.
Karamihan po talaga sa mga youth ngayon is 100% talaga na vote for yes. Kasi itatry namin talaga kung okay ba yung Bangsamoro Organic Law.
But some groups are questioning its constitutionality.
Definitely, they will, of course, that's their right. And we want them to bring it para it will pass the test of constitutionality.
And is this the key for peace in the long-time Mindanao conflict? Senator Koko Pimentel and former presidential peace advisor Ging join us in the program. And later, netizens remember the colorful life of the so-called world's cutest dog. That's for today's In Focus. Thank you for joining us. I'm Pinky Webb. More than 2 million residents in Cotabato City, Isabela City, and the Autonomous Region in Muslim Mindanao expect to cast their votes to ratify the Bangsamoro Organic Law. The historic vote will allow the creation of the Bangsamoro Autonomous Region. This will replace the ARMM. The vote will also determine whether several towns in Lanao del Norte and North Cotabato will also be included in the new region. This landmark measure is seen to help resolve conflict and rebellion in the South. Let's go straight to the source of the story. We have Senator Koko Pimentel. Senator, welcome to the show. Good to see you again.
Thank you for inviting me, Pinky.
Happy birthday.
Yes, that was yesterday.
I know. Belated happy birthday to you,
po.
Senator. I hope you had a good birthday. So it's all systems go for the plebiscite today, sir, despite petitions to actually stop the plebiscite. There were two. One is to stop the plebiscite, and the other is also questioning the constitutionality of the BOL. But how do you feel about today's vote? They say this is a historic day.
Yes, this is a very, very important day. So I'm praying for a peaceful plebiscite because the plebiscite should be peaceful because we're doing all of this in the name of peace, to promote peace starting in Mindanao and then it will extend all over the Philippines.
Senator, there are 2 different days of voting. That's January 21 today, and then there's another one.
February 6, yeah.
On February 6. Can you please tell us why there are 2 different days of voting for the plebiscite and what is covered on today and on Feb 6?
Sige, part 1 is today, part 2 would be in February. Part 1 is very important because part 1 will now ask the existing ARMM, do you want to improve on the existing ARMM? If the answer is yes, then we have to ask, because part of the improvement is the expansion of the territory within the autonomous region. So if the answer is yes, we want to improve the existing ARMM, then we ask the other territories if they want to join. But then we are also now including, this is the decision of the COMELEC now, to also include Isabela City and Cotabato City. Because,
on January 21,
yeah,
today.
And they will be asked if they want to join the existing arm and to be part of the better arm or the BAR. So we are doing this because the decision of Isabela City is not subject to any review by a bigger LGU. The decision of Cotabato City is also not subject to consent or review by any other bigger LGU.
Which
so
means
what is if the decision of Isabela today will be respected.
It's independent.
Will be respected.
Cotabato
The decision
City,
of Cotabato City will be respected.
It does not need the approval of a province or a mother unit.
Because they are separate and independent. While in February 6, These are the potential additional areas to the enhanced arm. But these are barangays and municipalities, and we need to ask their so-called mother unit. So the mother unit of a municipality is the province. The mother unit of a barangay is the municipality.
Oo, so barangay, municipality, barangay.
So pag mag-no ang municipality, there's no more need to ask the mother unit.
Wala na.
Pag mag-no ang barangay, there's no more need to ask the mother unit.
The municipality.
Yes.
So that's why there are two separate votes. Okay,
Yes.
so that's, again, that's January 21. Again, why? Because there are 5 provinces included in the ARMM.
The existing arm, yeah.
Let's name them, sir. Tawi-Tawi, Sulu, Lanao del Sur.
Basilan, Lanao del Sur, and Maguindanao.
And Maguindanao, yun yung 5. And then for today, Isabela City and Cotabato City will also say, do we want to be included
Yes.
in the ARMM?
But the more important result would be in the existing arm. The existing arm must agree
First.
to enhance the existing arm. If the answer is yes, then we now consider the results of the areas which we are inviting to join the enhanced arm. But if they say no, kahit mag-yes yung other
game
area,
over.
there is no enhanced arm to join. So dapat manalo muna ang the law must win in the plebiscite in the existing arm.
They have to say yes to the creation or to the abolishing the arm and
Creating an enhanced arm to be called Bangsamoro Autonomous Region.
right. Yes to BOL. I think ganun eh,
Yes,
sir. Yes to BOL. So those are the existing regions and rather provinces in the ARMM, and that would possibly be expanded if they say yes to the ratification of the BOL.
Yes,
Parang ganun eh, no?
yes to the law, because the law contains all of the mechanisms there. Pati yung mga resources na ibubuhos sa kanila, it's in the law.
Sir, why is, we already mentioned a while ago that these yung isasama pa yung Cotabato City and Isabela. Why is there resistance by Cotabato City? Because in the past, they resisted already being part of the ARMM. Sir, why? Historically, ano ba nangyari dito?
Well, they must have their own reasons, no? But no matter what the reasons are, what is important is to determine the collective will of the people of Cotabato City, and we will respect it. So, at walang mawawala, that is the rule. If you do not join, you should not lose anything. But the promise is, if you join, you should be gaining something. That is the promise. That is how it should be presented to the people.
Why will this be better, sir, than the ARMM? Why will this new law be even any better? I know the former president called the ARMM a failed experiment. Looking back, this was established, I believe, in 1989, sir. Di ho ba? What makes this different?
Well, sometimes the complaint when there is a devolution or the transfer of power, the number one complaint is you gave me power or more responsibilities, but you did not give me more resources. So we made sure in this law, the BOL, that resources would follow the mandate or the responsibilities given to the autonomous region. So from, I think, times 4 namin ang resources eh. So if ARM receives X amount today, Bangsamoro Autonomous Region will receive, BARM would receive 4X, 4 times more. And then we are also allowing for the very first time that this autonomous region will now have a parliamentary feature. So, which is, in my opinion, better because the government, the regional government, can now react quicker, will be more responsive to the sentiments of the constituents of the people. So, because it's parliamentary, there is this vote of no confidence.
No confidence vote, yes.
If the executive branch, which comes from the parliament, or the majority will come from the parliament, seems to be out of touch with the sentiments of the constituents, then the parliament, the representatives of the people will say, we no longer have confidence in you, we will change the executive branch
And
of
the
the
unitary
government.
form of government doesn't work, sir? That's not more responsive to the needs of
The unitary
form?
unitary kasi
Which is what they have right now.
which is like the national setup in the Philippines, that we will have an executive branch separate from the legislative branch. So when there is a problem with the implementation of the law, sometimes the legislators will say it's not properly implemented by the executive, and then the executive will point to Congress, that is the law of the Congress.
And then they question it before the judiciary.
But still dito, we will still have the judicial branch in the Bangsamoro. But what is important is that when we say government, isa lang po yan ang responsible dyan, which is the parliament. Directly elected by the people. So, and then the BARM parliament is also unique in the sense that there will be 80 members and then not all are district representatives. Mas marami pa ang non-district representatives.
Okay, we're going to talk about the form of government, sir, so we understand that better from a unitary form to this so-called parliamentary slash it's parliamentary democratic form of government,
Yes.
Okay, we'll talk about that a little later on. Let's just bring this in. The creation of a new Muslim autonomous region seen to bring a peaceful resolution to the long-drawn conflict in Mindanao. The Bangsamoro Organic Law is a product of years of peace negotiations between the government and the country's largest Muslim rebel group, the Moro Islamic Liberation Front. David Santos gives us a preview on how this new political entity will look like.
The Bangsamoro Autonomous Region aims to succeed where the almost 3-decade-old autonomous region in Muslim Mindanao has failed. But like the ARMM, the Bangsamoro government will also be an experiment. For the first time in our country's history, this restyled regional entity will take a parliamentary democratic form of government. Constituents will elect 80 members to the Bangsamoro Parliament, half of which will be party representatives. The rest will come from the different districts, as well as from sectors like women and indigenous peoples. Among the 80, they will select a chief minister who will head the parliament. But first, a plebiscite will be held to determine the Bangsamoro territory. Provinces and cities in the current ARMM will vote if they agree to join the new autonomous government. Their votes will be counted as region and not as individual areas. Also voting in the referendum are the cities of Cotabato and Isabela in Basilan, as well as 6 towns in Lanao del Norte and 39 barangays in North Cotabato. But Lanao del Norte and North Cotabato as provinces will also have to vote if they are willing to let go of their towns and barangays to join the Bangsamoro. There's a provision that allows other areas in Mindanao that want to join the Bangsamoro government to file a petition to be included in the plebiscite. Once the Bangsamoro core territory is established, President Duterte will appoint 80 people to the Bangsamoro Transition Authority or BTA. The BTA will serve as the interim government until the first elections are held in 2022. Bangsamoro elected and appointed officials as well as employees will be required to comply with their own code of ethics for public officials. 5% of the country's customs and internal revenue tax collection, estimated at about 60 to 70 billion pesos a year, will be allocated to the Bangsamoro as some sort of a startup fund. It will also get a 50 billion peso fund spread over 10 years to finance rehabilitation of conflict-torn communities like building roads, schools, and hospitals. Only 25% of the national taxes collected in the region will be remitted to the national government. Revenues from the exploration and use of natural resources will go entirely to the Bangsamoro, but those from fossil fuels and uranium will be shared equally with the national government. As part of the transition, about a third of the ARMM's 29,000 employees will have to go. The majority who will stay are social and health workers and school teachers. The Bangsamoro government will have more than 50 regional powers, with its Organic Act explicitly stating it will uphold the Constitution. Islam will play a vital role in the region's judicial as well as educational systems, such as the Sharia courts and the madrasa schools. But implementation will still be supervised by the national government. The Bangsamoro Regional Police will be directly under the Philippine National Police, Former rebels can join the police force and qualifications can be waived only if they apply within 5 years after the Bangsamoro Organic Law is passed. David Santos, CNN Philippines.
This is the source on CNN Philippines. Can the proposed Bangsamoro law withstand legal scrutiny? Senator Koko Pimentel will still be with us after the break. You're watching The Source on CNN Philippines. Our guest today, Senator Koko Pimentel. Sir, I asked a while ago, why would this be any better, again, than the ARMM? What assurance can you tell the public that this is the better version of the ARMM?
We tried at least our best to clarify the existing law. Now, the powers of the legislature are clearer, meaning to say that they can legislate in almost any subject matter except the following. Yan lang ginawa namin. And then we made sure that resources would follow also, the greater responsibilities given to the regional government. We are allowing or authorizing a parliamentary setup, which we believe will be a more responsive governmental arrangement, so that even the executive branch can be changed even before the end of its term if it is no longer responsive to the needs or the sentiments of the people. And even the composition of the Legislative Assembly is unique. There will be more party list and sectoral representatives compared to district representatives, meaning to say...
Yeah, let's talk about that,
Meaning to
sir.
say, the legislative agenda of the parties in the region will have to be pursued by their assemblymen. Otherwise, they can be changed by the party list.
But I want to understand this form of government, sir. So it is a federal democratic form of government. So the head is the chief minister. Is that correct, sir?
Chief Minister.
Sa ilalim po niya, merong 80 na members of parliament. And then David was telling us a while ago that half of it are party representatives and half are district representatives. So can you
Okay,
explain
ganito. There will be 80 members of the Regional Legislative Assembly.
Is it the parliament?
That's the parliament.
Okay.
Parliament, tawagin na lang natin parliament. 80 members of parliament. Around 40% would be district representatives, 10% would be sectoral representatives, and then, if I'm not mistaken, the rest,
Sectoral.
50% would be district representatives.
No, you said 40%
Okay,
is district.
50% would be party list represent. That's correct.
Isn't party list, sir, the 10% sectoral? Di
No,
ba?
10% yung reserved seats yan eh.
Sige.
Sectoral, yes.
So
Okay.
50% is, did you say party?
Yes.
Did you say party list or party, sir? Iba yun.
Party list yan kasi well, I'm using it loosely, but that means to say that the seat in the parliament belongs to a party, a regional political party, hindi national party, a regional.
So in the BARM rather, sir, kailangan magkakaroon na ng different kinds of parties.
Yes.
And we talk about parties,
Yes.
sir, we talk about what, PDP Laban, something like that, sir.
But it must be a regional. It must be a regional.
I know,
party.
sir. Ibig ko sabihin, hindi po party list parang mga Ako Bicol, mga iba ho yun. Because when we talk about party lists, sir, we talked about representatives such as the Bicol represent Ako Bicol, yung sa party list members. Iba ho kasi yung party, iba yung party list eh.
In the BARM, in the region, people now must voluntarily form political parties. Regional, regional.
Let's say Hukbong.
It's a Region 11.
It's a
So
region.
they can now have their own regional party in... they form their own in the BARM, okay? They will accredit with the COMELEC. And then COMELEC will now implement a system of election where around 50%, so 40 seats out of 80, 50% would be 40. this will be contested by, so 40 seats to be contested by all the regional parties registered in the region. So, meaning to say, it will be a regional legislative agenda which will be pursued by these political parties.
So lalakas yung party system,
precisely,
definitely.
lalakas ang party system, mas proactive or reactive to the sentiments of the people in the region, and then the seat is not controlled by the person elected but controlled by the party. So if they made a mistake, their representative is no longer espousing our legislative agenda in the parliament, we can change it.
We're going to take out that member of parliament.
The party can change it.
So, and then district, 40%, sir, is district.
Yan na yung mga cluster of municipalities considered as a district.
Parang ibig sabihin,
parang yung
sir,
ating,
congressman?
Parang congressman
Okay,
natin.
40%. Ano ho yung 10% sectoral?
Okay. We made sure to give a voice to some sectors. So, for example, youth.
Ito na yung parang party list, sir.
Hindi, ano na to?
Yeah, youth, kunwari senior citizens,
okay.
how we understand it.
Pero ano kasi, our national party list system is convoluted. That's why we need to reform it also. But this time,
That's why you don't want to call it
mas
sectoral
klaro.
representation.
Women, and I think even the non-Muslim residents inside the BARM, they're also given one seat. So they made sure that some sectors will have to have a voice, and then some seats will be for parties. They can now espouse regional legislative agenda. And then district iba.
Sir, sinong pipili ng chief minister?
The parliament.
Parliament votes the chief minister. And then that's when you say that the no confidence vote also comes in. If they are unhappy with the chief minister, they will declare a no confidence vote.
The chief minister should come from the parliament, will form his cabinet, also coming from the parliament. Therefore, if they are no longer responsive to the sentiments of the people, there can be a vote of no confidence.
You know, sir, I remember MILF founding chairman Salamat Hashim back then wanted total independence in the past, sir. And then when he died, sir, eventually the group just espoused for autonomy. Can you just tell us what is the difference between independence and autonomy? Paano ho ba natin maintindihan yun?
At least ang autonomy is you are operating under the jurisdiction of the Republic of the Philippines. But you will be given more powers or more subject matters you can decide on your own. And then the national government will respect your decision. But independence is a dangerous term because that means that you're considered separate.
Like a separate country.
Separate na from the Republic of the Philippines, and you're inviting other nations to recognize you as a separate entity.
Senator, is this a prelude to a possible federal form of government in the Philippines, sir? Ito ho ba parang test case?
All I can say is that a lot of concepts in RA 11054, creating the Bangsamoro Autonomous Region in Muslim Mindanao, are also concepts which we will encounter when we discuss federalism. Because number one, there is devolution of powers, there is sharing of resources, there is division of labor. Claro, itong role ng national, itong role ng regional, and then this is the one exciting feature which we are allowing a certain area in the Philippines to have a different system of government or form of government. Parliamentary sila. While in the Philippines, at national level, we have a presidential.
Isn't that confusing, though?
Well,
are there? Let me throw out this question, sir, because I haven't researched this. Is there a country that you can say that is going to be similar to this setup in the Philippines?
There are federal countries.
No, not a country, sir, but a country that is presidential, and then there is a federal form of government in.
No, get. If this law is approved in the plebiscite, then we will be a country where at the national level we are presidential, and then and in one autonomous area we are parliamentary. Or let's not use the word federal, but parliamentary. Okay. There are other countries like this, and these countries are federal. Because in a federal, you really allow the states, the regions, more autonomy, and they can in their constitution they allow the region or the autonomous area to choose their own form of government.
Yeah. So you mentioned a while back that, for example, the money that will be allotted from the ARMM to the BARM, the Bangsamoro Autonomous Region in Muslim Mindanao, will be × 4. My question is, where is government going to get this money? Is that going to come from the national government? Because I understand there will be a grant in the beginning, and then a 75 to 25% sharing. Pero paano ho mabibigyan ng × 4? Why was this not something given, even in the past, if it was possible to begin with?
Number one is siguro that was the present amount being given to ARM is the amount determined to be sufficient for the responsibilities of ARM. So now that's why it's now BARM. We're giving them more responsibilities. We are expanding the area.
If they say yes.
Yes, yun na ngayon. So, but we're anticipating, di ba? We're anticipating that it will be an expanded area. Then we are also welcoming into the fold, into the normal way of life, former combatants. So we really have to pour resources into the area.
Are you confident?
For not only for livelihood, for infrastructure development.
Jobs, sir. Sir, as the last question, are you confident that this will pass the scrutiny in terms of constitutionality before the Supreme Court, sir?
Well, I will let the Supreme Court do its job, but I'm hoping. And okay, but when we voted on this, of course, those who voted in favor did not consciously vote for an unconstitutional law. So we all believe that what we were voting in favor for was a constitutional piece of legislation.
Senator Koko Pimentel, sir, maraming salamat po sa inyo. And again, belated happy birthday to you, sir. Maraming salamat. This is The Source on CNN Philippines. We get to know more about how the Bangsamoro Organic Law can be vital in providing peace to the long-time Mindanao conflict. Welcome back to the program. Members of the MILF joined the historic vote today. Our Trisha Tirada is in Sultan Kudarat Town in Maguindanao, where the MILF's Camp Darapanan is located. Trisha, tell us what's the latest there.
Well, Pinky, the polling center here at Simway Elementary School in Maguindanao is getting busier and more crowded since it opened its gates at 7 a.m. The thick crowd outside the precincts is mainly due to the voters looking for their names before they can actually vote. We've been observing the conduct of the plebiscite, and so far it looks okay, at least as soon as the voter gets the chance to cast his or her vote. It slows down a bit when the plebcom checks the identity of the voters against the official list. Once done, like in any other election, plebcom drops some indelible ink onto their finger. We've also seen some MILF combatants casting their votes, and while many of them were quite hesitant to be seen on camera, one we've spoken to is delighted for the opportunity, and we have to keep in mind also that it's actually the first time in a long time for many of them to participate in a democratic process, and that includes no less than MILF Chairman Murad Ebrahim. Now, days ahead of the plebiscite, we had a chance to speak with him, and he shared his thoughts for today's historic vote.
We are very enthusiastic kasi nakikita namin yung overwhelming support ng mga tao. So, we are very hopeful na talagang ma-ratify na ang BOS.
Well, as of this time, we are waiting for Chairman Murad's arrival. As you can see behind me, everyone's really preparing for his arrival here at the Simway Elementary School. Now, again, only written yes or no or its dialect counterpart will be accepted or counted. Pinky?
Thanks a lot, Trisha Terada, reporting to us from Sultan Kudarat, Maguindanao. Peace and security. Those are some of the promises once the new Bangsamoro Autonomous Region is established through the ratification of the Bangsamoro Organic Law. But with the current challenges on the ground, terrorism, crime, and patronage politics, how will the Moro Islamic Liberation Front address these issues once they lead the new Bangsamoro? We'll now speak to MILF Chairman Al-Haj Murad Ebrahim via video call from Sultan Kudarat in Mindanao. Chairman, good morning. Welcome to the show, sir.
Good morning to Pinky. Good morning to our viewers.
First, I just want to ask you, Chairman, how do you feel? Very historic and important day.
Well, we are very satisfied that at least we see that there is an overwhelming support from our people on the plebiscite. Everywhere we go, we see that people are very supportive. From the island provinces to the mainland provinces in Mindanao, in the area, they are very supportive. So we are very optimistic that the BOL will be ratified.
Chairman, what are the contentious the contentious areas that you are looking at?
Well, we have challenges in the areas supposed to be not in the area of the original AIMS, but those to be added, like Cotabato City, the 6 municipalities in Lanao del Norte, and then Isabela City, and also the 49 barangays in North Cotabato. This is only where we are facing some challenges, especially in the Lanao, the 6 municipalities in Lanao. The provincial government of Lanao del Norte is not supportive of the inclusion of the 6 municipalities, although we see that within the 6 municipalities, we are confident that yes will win in the 6 municipalities.
Chairman.
But it is being voted for by the public, and that is where we are worried.
Chairman, you mentioned Cotabato City. The President was there, I believe, Friday, if I'm not mistaken, to make a final push for the ratification of the BOL. Do you feel that the residents of Cotabato City will finally vote inclusion into the, what will be called the BARM, or the Bangsamoro Autonomous Region in Muslim Mindanao?
Well, there are still some opposition, especially the local government in Cotabato City. But as far as the people of the area, the inhabitants of Cotabato City, both the Christians and the Muslims are very supportive of the inclusion of Cotabato City. But then it is the local government that is not supporting. So what we're apprehensive of is there will be some kind of manipulation in the result of the election. Because if there is no manipulation, no intervention, intimidations and others, there will be an overwhelming yes in Cotabato City.
Could there be intimidation coming from the other side? Chairman, you mean those who want to say no to the ratification of the BOL, sir?
That is where we are apprehensive of. And now, Cotabato City, because of this situation, is under COMELEC control. So now we are watching closely the situation in Cotabato City. There are now some challenges we are facing, but we hope that since the police and the military are watching closely also the situation, we hope that there will be no manipulation, intimidation that is made.
Chairman, the two questions that I wanted to ask you, one after the other, is that are you confident that the people of Mindanao will ratify the Bangsamoro Organic Law? And next is, are you confident that there will be an expansion of the ARMM to the BAR or the BARM?
Well, so far, as to the area already under the ARMM, we are very confident that the BOL will be ratified. People will vote overwhelmingly. As I have said, the challenges are those to be added. And Lanao del Norte, we are not, I think the chances is around, as of now, is still 50-50 chance. In Cotabato City, if there is no manipulation, we are still sure that it will be ratified also. In Isabela City, we have about 80% to 90% chances of being included. In the other barangays in North Cotabato, all the local governments in the area, the mayors, the governors, are very supportive in the inclusion of the 49 barangays who petitioned to be part of the Bangsamoro.
As a last question, Chairman, what can you tell the people about the possible ratification of the BOL and the expansion to BARM? How can this, I guess in very simple terms, uplift the lives of the people who will be part of the BARM?
You know, there are many advantages in the BOL compared to the law that created the ARMM. The advantages and benefits are very far from the ARMM law. One example is first, we have achieved what we call fiscal autonomy. We have the source from the national government and from the area, which will ensure that if properly managed and handled, it will really develop the area. It will give progress to the area, and it will give a good life to the people in the area.
Chairman Alhaj Murad, thank you, sir, for your time.
Thank you very much, Pinky. Thank you very much to our viewers.
We'll be taking a short break. This is The Source on CNN Philippines. Please stay tuned. You're watching The Source on CNN Philippines. Joining us now here in the studio, former Presidential Peace Advisor Ging Dele. Secretary, good to see you again. It's been so long.
Yes, quite a while. And an exciting day.
Very exciting day. How do you feel?
Well, I think more emotional than I had thought I would be. It's been a long time waiting. So all hopes, all prayers for the Bangsamoro.
Let's give a brief background. Secretary Ging, of course, espousing peace over in Mindanao, and also the whole term. Is it the whole term of former President Aquino? You were working on this peace process, which was called the BBL.
Yes, in the comprehensive agreement of the Bangsamoro, the legislation was referred to as basic Bangsamoro law.
Bangsamoro Basic Law. Yes, and then now it's the BOL. How different is the BOL from the BBL?
Significantly, this frame is the same. The concepts of power sharing and greater fiscal autonomy, as was mentioned, revenue sharing, also the enlargement of the territory, and very important, the form of government are all carried in the BOL. Of course, some language was lost, which was very important to the MILF, and I think it is important to acknowledge that seeing the big picture, they accepted this. Words like parity of esteem, asymmetrical, if you will remember, those were
Help us,
terms
let's
of
go back to that,
discussion.
Secretary. Well,
Yeah.
how important were those words, and what does it mean having to change the language?
They were not included in the law. And the truth is, legally, they don't really affect. They have no legal impact. But emotionally, these were words that the MILF had used since, the MOA AD. And that we carried. It was carried in the comprehensive agreement because for them it was very important in the notion of asymmetric, for example, the recognition that the Bangsamoro is asymmetric in the Philippine government system, not equal to the national government, but higher than local government. Parity of esteem was emphasizing, stressing the need for equal respect. No? So those were words that had become emotional, and that in the BBL, the decision was, this is a law that has been well fought for. It is a product of a peace process, so it can be there. The present Congress decided not to put it there. As I said, it has no legal impact. But that's one of the things that was not there.
So that in terms of language.
Language.
What else?
Also in terms of language, in terms of the powers, the comprehensive agreement and the BBL were defining the powers according to exclusive, shared, and reserved, if you will remember.
Yeah.
Yes. But the present BOL does not have that, but it includes pretty much all the same powers and gives the BARM, the new BARM, jurisdiction in terms of these powers, a sharing in these powers larger than before.
Which is the 75-25, Secretary?
In fact, in terms of the sharing from natural resources, BOL gives a higher sharing.
Natural resources found in the territory of the farm.
Yes, because the comprehensive agreement and the BBL had said 100% for non-minerals, 75% for minerals, and then 50-50 for fossil fuels for power generating.
So that was more generous back then?
No,
the BBL.
it's more generous now.
Now, I see.
BOL says non-mineral and mineral are now 100%. So the 75% in the BBL is raised to 100% in the BOL. Power sharing in terms of fossil fuels and other power generating resources is still, as President Aquino had said, hating kapatid, 50-50.
Secretary, we're talking about a lot of the, I would call it fine print, what really is what we can expect eventually if this is if the BOL is ratified and eventually it's an expanded BARM. We normally talk about the general terms such as fiscal autonomy, 75-25 sharing, military, police, Coast Guard, etc. But in terms of possibly what can immediately affect the residents there, will this create jobs for the people of BARM?
I think what is important is that it will create and draw faith back in their future. And that's important in creating jobs. So maybe economically it may take time, but hopefully not as long as it would need. For the people there to see finally that in fact government keeps its commitment, that in fact the struggle has reached a closure where the MILF that had fought and waged this for more than 4 decades now are saying no, it's time for all of us to become productive. In fact, in the last years, I would say that jobs had been created. Because the ceasefire has held. The ceasefire has held even since 2003. That had meant that the fields in Maguindanao were being grown. People were actually, there was no disruption in people's work, in people's jobs. Women, you can see the weaving industry is gaining.
It's flourishing, yes,
Yes,
yes.
so there's that start of the momentum already. And to come to this time now where the MILF, the people, will say, really,
Let's join hands.
yes, armed conflict, fighting the government is no longer on the agenda. We all focus on productive work. I don't know how quickly that will show in terms of economic terms, but I am pretty sure that the psychological base for a improvement of economic life, that is going to be felt.
But
That is going to be there.
if the residents were to feel any kind of improvement, how long or how short of a time do you see some sort of a jump start in its economy, hence in the lives of the people there?
According to Armed Governor Mujib Hataman, in fact, in the last 2 years, I think, ARM has been growing on a higher economic growth than the national average. So there is that. Well, just look at Cotabato City. Cotabato City is booming. There are malls. Jollibee is there. Well, if I'm allowed to say that.
Of course, that's
Other brands are there. Many restaurants. There's nightlife. Construction is going on. So in fact, there is that already. What will this add? The government will restructure. There should be, and I think this is very important moving forward, the commitment for a catch-up fund that needs to be in place. The good thing is that preparation was done for this. There's if you will remember, a Bangsamoro development plan that was launched in, I think, 2015. That already laid out
the groundwork,
where roads should be built, where schools should be built. Hopefully, the local governments will also feel more inspired, and they are going to be so important. The halal industry is a low-hanging fruit there, and all of the startup productive activities are already there.
Are we assured, though, of an improved peace and order in the region?
You know, you are going to put the weapons of the largest, most organized armed threat group to government. You are going to put this aside and put them beyond use, in fact, is the commitment of the MILF. It will not solve all of the security problems. There are going to be other lawless elements, but you have a full force that were formerly fighting government, now committed to keep the peace, now to have a stake in the peace. I will imagine that even those lawless elements are, that many of their members are going to begin to think twice. Is this the way we want to go, or are we going to be part of this positive momentum in the region? I have no doubt that security-wise, this is so important. It is, in fact, essential.
Secretary, is there anything that you are possibly cautioning about this ratification of the BOL and then an eventual abolishing the ARM and turning that into the BARM? What should we possibly look into that might cause maybe a bit of a problem?
No, we have to look at we have to realize that the ratification means that the law now has to be fully implemented. That means that the Bangsamoro Transition Authority has to be put into place.
The BTA, yeah.
BTA, that means appointments of 80 people have to be signed immediately,
right,
because the caretaker government that is in the law is not going to be a governing body.
Yeah, because elections will happen in May 2022.
Yes. And then there's the budget requirements. I think, I hope the Congress is already looking at a supplementary budget law, because in terms of the size of government, just from the size of government, the BOL is larger than the ARM. So the budget of the arm that is going to be carried over, that's not going to be enough. These are
Absolutely.
things that we have to watch out for. There are intergovernmental relations bodies that need to be put into place because in the sharing of powers, there are bound to be problems and controversies. The national government has to be talking very closely to the new Bangsamoro to help it along. The Bangsamoro needs to do a lot of housekeeping, putting administrative codes into place and all of that. There's a policing provision that is not quite clear. That will have to be put into place. It's an important milestone in this
Absolutely, for
peace roadmap. And very important, of course, the MILF's commitment to good and inclusive government. I have every confidence. I have seen them preparing themselves for this. That needs now to be seen.
Former Presidential Peace Advisor Ging, it's good to see you again, ma'am. And we await, of course, the turnout of today's plebiscite till the other one also on February 6th. Secretary, thank you.
Thank you.
You so much. This is The Source on CNN Philippines. Coming up, netizens pay tribute to the world's cutest dog. That's for today's In Focus.